Hello everyone, and welcome to the December 2025 edition of the Presale Pulse, your inside track on everything happening in real estate across Greater Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. I'm your host, Suzana Goncalves, and as always, I'm joined by the wonderful and rather festive Brittany Reimer. And since our last update, the market is still down, but it's the holiday season, so I'm officially refusing to start this episode with any bad news. Consider it my gift to you all.
A very thoughtful gift to all of our viewers, Suze. Also, it's very obvious that you're attempting to stall before we dive into the numbers here, but that's okay. What's in that glass, by the way?
But in fairness, it's easy to get distracted when we're filming somewhere as beautiful as this.
Yeah, absolutely. Today we're at Emerald, a truly special community by City Mark and Woodbridge Homes here in Lionsgate Village.
The Emerald is an exclusive enclave of 41 meticulously crafted residences nestled along the picturesque banks of the Capilano River. And when I say nestled, I mean the river is literally your neighbor. When we talk about truly unique locations that you just can't find anywhere, this is the kind of location we're talking about, because most owners cannot boast that the river is their neighbor. Homes range from 1 to 4 bedroom homes, so there's something for everyone. Now fully built and move-in ready in the heart of Lionsgate Village, Emerald built on the success of Ebb and Flow, and also in this neighborhood, of course, they're decades and decades of experience. These homes are beautiful, functional, and you get both the tranquility of the river with also the convenience of the village and cafes and the rec center and more. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You can feel that refinement immediately when you walk into these homes with the Bosch appliances, the quartz countertops, all the features you would expect. Now everything feels elevated and functional, as you said, but that riverside setting also gives it this whole community a sense of calm, peace, and you're still close to urban convenience.
Yeah, and the best part is that Emerald is now selling with 2 brand new display homes open for viewing. I really encourage you to check them out if you have not seen them yet. Whether you're looking for a peaceful riverside retreat or a home just steps from amenities, parks, and transit, Emerald really checks all the boxes.
Yeah, and our sales team is here and available for walk-in appointments on weekends from 12 to 4 p.m. and by appointment throughout the week. Now, only a handful of these homes are still available, so opportunities here are limited. Don't miss your opportunity. It's definitely worth a visit to come see it.
Emerald has been one of our bright lights in the market for all the reasons we just touched on. We just firmed up another few homes, so we have just a handful remaining. You can also check out liveatemerald.ca for more info or to book an appointment. I don't know if you can see it over our shoulder here.
Yeah, should we move out just so it's like a nice, like,
so beautiful out there.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it is gorgeous. All right, on that note, let's kick things off with a macro update. Suze, what is the latest?
Well, it looks like Canada's Q3 GDP came in much stronger than expected at 2.6%. That's well above the 0.5% growth economists were calling for, and has helped us avoid a technical recession, which is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline.
Yeah, so there is a bit more to this story. The drivers behind that Q3 growth aren't exactly signs of a healthy and sustainable economy. This growth was largely driven by a pullback of imports rather than recovery in exports.
Yeah, I feel like we're in the movie Inception. What is real? Technically, we're not in a recession, but when we look further into the factors of GDP that would help us create a sustainable economy, such as business investments and household spending, we can see both either remain flat or has declined.
Yeah, and everybody can feel it. If anything, this data suggests that both consumers and businesses are still very cautious. Now, while we seem to be doing better than most expected, given the tariffs and even the most recent job numbers, there is still a lot of uncertainty about how quickly we can recover, and that hesitation is showing up in lower spending and limited investment.
Yeah, another factor we're paying close attention to is the wave of upcoming mortgage renewals. We know that mortgages are typically the last payment people default on because it's tied to their home.
Yeah, and despite the economy not being in a great place, mortgage delinquency rates remain low, sitting at around 0.22% as of Q2 2025. We also know that roughly 2 million mortgages renewed in 2025 or are set to renew in 2026. And while some 2020 buyers have already gone through that process this year, in Vancouver, all of the sales that happened in 2021 is really what is on our radar, including my own home purchase. Yeah. It was the busiest sales year in 25 years, and prices were noticeably higher when compared to 2020.
Right, this means that many of these mortgages won't renew until 2026, so Vancouver hasn't felt the full impact yet. There's likely more reduction in spending to come as households manage their current or impending higher mortgage payments.
Yeah, and so this pressure could continue to build over the next few years.
Yeah. So a bit of a mixed bag today. Employment numbers in GDP was better than expected, but we continue to see a lot of hesitancy and uncertainty in the overall market with little investment growth.
All right, and we know this, segment is called the Presale Pulse, but given we're running a little short on content these days, I'm thinking that we could switch it up and focus on rental product for this pulse instead. Suze, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Britt. With the holidays approaching very quickly, the presale market has been even quieter than usual. Between holiday shopping, catching up with loved ones, and perfecting that mulled wine recipe, there's not much time left for those, Munton.
I mean, speaking of mulled wine, I made it for the first time over the last couple of weeks, and I must say it's better with oranges, not grapefruit. I made that mistake. I learned the hard way. The office was so generous about it, though. They were just like, it tastes so good. I'm like, no, I can tell by your face. You don't like this.
And thanks to your experiment going wrong, I stayed away from the grapefruits. I used blood oranges, which did work quite well, actually. If you need a taste tester, I volunteer. I'm also headed to the Christmas market in a couple weeks, and I'm pretty excited about the glühwein.
Hey, if you're not making money in real estate, you might as well sell mulled wine at the market.
That might be my new career option.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hope for me yet. Now, getting back on topic, there were only 3 pre-sale launches in November with a total of 346 units entering the market, and for December, we don't expect any new project launches. That said, we'll do a full 2025 roundup next month's Pulse in January, our holiday gift to you that I'm sure you already are excited about.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. January already, it's very, very hard to believe that we're already heading into 2026. The year flew by, and while the pre-sale market stayed fairly quiet, the rental market seemed to carry quite a bit momentum.
Yeah, the rental market has been the talk of the town this year. How many rental projects did we see come to the market in 2025, Britt?
We saw a shocking 45 rental projects come to market, almost on par with what we would expect to see on the for market pre-sale side once we actually wrapped up the year.
Yeah, which is kind of essentially unheard of. How does that compare to last year?
Yeah, this is an increase of 20% compared to the number of rental projects that started leasing throughout 2024.
Now, we've seen a number of projects pivot from market to rental over the past few years. We've also seen very few high-rises launch in the for-market space given the current economics. Now, given that rental projects launch once they're already built, are we seeing the same shift in the rental space with fewer high-rises?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. Yes and no. The rental market is still seeing some concrete high-rise launch, but that's mainly because those buildings were already under construction, probably for market, and then since things shifted, have gone to rental. So for context, in 2025, 62% of rental launches were low-rise, 16% were mid-rise, and 22% were high-rise buildings.
Okay, so we're seeing a similar shift, but it lags behind slightly, so we can expect in 2026 that high-rise numbers to likely be even less. Ultimately, wood frame and mid-rise buildings are more cost-effective under the current market conditions in both for rent and for market.
Yeah, that is true. While concrete high-rises still launch where premiums justify them, like transit-oriented and amenity-rich areas, or to provide larger suite offerings, the pipeline aligns with the pre-sale trend showing fewer high-rises and more wood frame buildings.
And how is absorption looking for these projects? It seems like we started 2025 strong, but rental activity has slowed down too since then.
That's absolutely right. Nearly 40% of those units have been absorbed, though we included a few recently launched projects for which updated leasing numbers aren't yet quite available. Similar to pre-sales, rental activity is seasonal, with the slowest period typically happening between mid-November and mid-January, as tenants tend to avoid moving over the holidays. Instead, they wait for better weather and things to pick up again as the spring and summer months roll around. People secure places before the school year in the fall.
Yeah, we've been seeing the same seasonality in MLA lease-up programs. We also dug into the numbers a little more, as we know rents moves a bit faster than the for-market homes. We're converting about 40% of our registrants into project tours on site, and of those, we are converting about 20% into firm leases. We used to see that on the for-market side, but we haven't seen those numbers in a while. That works out to about 10 to 15 leases per month per project, depending on the size and the amount of inventory they have remaining. So we've seen an increase in rental inventory on the market. How has this affected rental rates?
Yeah, I mean, rents have definitely softened over the past year as more units have hit the market. Year over year, we're seeing declines of around 5 to 10%, with the biggest drops on the higher end product, newer, pricier units. Of those different unit types, studios have taken the highest hit on discounts. I have my own rental unit in Langley that recently I had to reduce in rent by $200 a month. The tenant, I ended up just renegotiating the lease and she ended up staying. But, had I gone to market, hopefully she's not watching this, it might have been a little bit less than even what I ended up taking. And so pockets like Langley, Willoughby, where we've seen just such an influx of product that's completing between Hayter Town Center and Quadras project, all the Zenterra product, there's just been a flood of inventory, and therefore there's just more choice for those tenants, and those rates have certainly come down. In other areas where we're not seeing as much inventory completing, perhaps the rates haven't fallen off as much, but certainly a noticeable difference, especially for landlords out there.
Yeah, what a shift, hey? for a long time, it was like you were kind of happy to see your tenant go.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
saying you could increase more.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's way harder to find that new tenant than it is to just keep the one you have.
Totally, especially during the holiday months, right? It's like avoid that as much as you can. But I think it's a common story, and I just wanted to note it because I think many are probably faced with similar challenges as leases that were starting in 2024 and at the end of 2024 need renewal as we get to the end of 2025 and into 2026.
Yeah, so as you talked about, those incentives, they're becoming standard. Tenants now expect at least 1 month free, and some projects are even offering 2 months free or including parking and storage. And that's in the purpose-built rental stuff, not just the stuff that you were just talking about.
Right, and tenants continue to hold the bargaining power, and they're taking full advantage of it, shopping between projects to compare offerings and incentives and final monthly costs. Now we're seeing net rents after incentives coming in around 10% lower than what the gross rents that were advertised are.
Yeah, so really, the rental market and the presale market are not that different, with buyers having choice and looking for the best value.
I say ugly over here, ugly over there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit ugly both sides for sure.
Not good news for us. There's that mold line. Yeah. Let's do some project features. Let's start with West 42 by Mira, 19-story concrete high-rise rental community featuring 2 towers, west and east, located in the Oak Ridge neighborhood. The west tower features 161 rental units, and that was not including the 54 below market units. The east tower is set to complete soon, approximately 67 months after the west tower.
Yeah, that is a great place to start, Suze. The project began leasing in July with move-in starting mid-August, and it's now reporting 60% of the units leased. That's nearly 20 leases per month of the market rentals since launch, which is very positive and great to see and consistent with what we're seeing in other projects as well.
Exactly. I think the location is a major factor in its popularity. As we mentioned, concrete developments tend to perform well when they are in amenity-rich, transit-oriented neighborhoods, and West 42 fits that description perfectly. Tenants have been noted that the location is the main reason they chose this development, and as it is less than a 10-minute walk from Oak Ridge SkyTrain station, people love that.
Yeah, and you can't beat the accessibility, which makes West 42 appealing to a wide range of renters, including young professionals, families, and downsizers. The units attracting the most interest have been the higher-priced ones, appealing to downsizers, as well as the more affordable studios, which draw young professionals, students, and singles just seeking lower monthly costs.
Yeah, and they are providing lots of options between furnished or unfurnished homes as well. Flexible lease terms as well from 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, although most tenants have been opting for 12 months. In a 1-bedroom example, a furnished unit is approximately 15% more expensive than an unfurnished unit.
Yeah, we don't see many furnished units on the market, but these have been reportedly attracting graduate students. Given the location and the renter demographic, offering furnished suites just makes sense here and makes it a little easier for them to get in and get out.
Yeah, now one trend we're seeing in rental developments is more extensive amenity offerings. At West 42, tenants have access to a sauna and steam room, typically only found in strata developments, as well as a rooftop terrace with barbecue and outdoor dining, a fitness center, children's play area, entertainment room with kitchen, garden plots, 16-hour concierge, and more. I think this is a trend we will continue to see, where some of these rental communities are really amping up their amenity offerings.
Yeah, and overall they have done well, it seems, although they also have 3 bookable spaces for $600 for 6 hours, which works out to be $100 an hour with a 6-hour minimum, which is pretty high compared to other developments, but I'd expect that to come down maybe over time and as they see whether it's actually being utilized or not.
Yeah, I'm curious. So what's next on our rental agenda?
Well, speaking of rental agenda, let's move on to another concrete high-rise rental in West Coquitlam. Suze, it's Smith & Farrow. I know you know this one. By Boffo. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it's an exciting one. It is the rental portion of the condominium building next door. Leasing began in November with move-ins scheduled for December. What sets this project apart from all the other rentals in Coquitlam is its higher-end finishings, full-size kitchen and appliances, gas barbecue outlets on the balconies, and the air conditioning.
Yeah, very luxurious, much more so than other rental product in the area. These finishings are comparable to some of the newer condo developments in the neighborhood that typically offer higher-end specs versus the standard rental homes.
Yeah, of course. This means overall rents are slightly higher, but tenants are offered incentives such as a 13-month free and a parking and storage included, and the homes overall are a little larger. Buffalo always prioritizes livability and good floor plan layouts above all else.
Yeah, they certainly do. Now, offering more size and space at that monthly rent. Now, combined with that building technology and the amenity offering, I think it's worth the extra penny for it. What other features make Smith & Farrow stand out compared to the competition?
Yeah, the building also offers unique features like car decals for garage access without a fob, Alexa One parcel lockers to securely store packages. For amenities, they offer a fitness center, mini golf, co-working space, space, children's play area, outdoor lounge with barbecue, indoor lounge with kitchen, and a rooftop lounge with bar. Residents also have access to some of the condominium amenities, including an outdoor pool, sauna, and hot tub.
That is quite the list of amenities. It's really nice to have some amenities separate between the buildings as well, but sharing the wet amenities creates social space and connection between the two buildings that I'm sure really encourages interactions among all of the residents at Smith & Farrell. I wish I had the fob for that one.
Yeah. Yes, and because this is Bothwell, who always do it right, homes also include air conditioning and some other high-end finishings. Overall, both the completed tower and the rental homes look amazing, which is no surprise.
Great. Thanks so much, Suze, for that update. I really enjoyed the pivot, into rental for this month. Should we wrap up the segment with our classic resale stats? I think everybody wants to see the resale stats.
I mean, do they?
I think so.
Okay. It's probably not a huge surprise, but November home sales did slip compared to October. And with the holiday season kicking in, people tend to hit pause on home hunting. So we'll see an even softer December, I suspect.
Yeah, for sure. What's a bit more concerning is how much lower sales are compared to this time last year. Both the Greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley are down 15%. ...
Well, with December shaping up to be another slow month, it's looking increasingly likely that 2025 could mark the lowest year of home sales in Greater Vancouver in the last 25 years.
Yeah, right now we're sitting at just above 22,000 sales as of December 1st. To avoid setting that 25-year low, we would need to have over 2,200 more sales this December. Let's go, which is likely very unrealistic given the 10-year average is typically 2,000 sales, and we've basically been under the 10-year average every single month this year so far. But one can always hope. Yeah. I like setting records. I like, pushing limits.
I know you do. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you got to at least set the goal to even have a shot.
You do.
It, right?
Everybody, realtors, strap your boots. Let's go. Let's get those numbers.
Yeah, unfortunately, even if we did hit 2,200 sales, we'd still end the year roughly 2% below 2018, which currently holds the record for the lowest annual sales in the last couple of decades.
Record's a record.
Yeah, made to be broken.
They do. To put it in perspective, that would also mean we're sitting around 45% below the 2021 peak, which was 44,000 sales.
Yeah, hard to believe how much the market has shifted in just a few years. And that's basically why we again have resorted to the mulled wine.
Yeah, cheers. Now, while listings declined in both regions on a monthly and annual basis, the buildup of inventory over the course of the year, combined with the subdued sales, is keeping overall listings at a very elevated level.
Yeah, Greater Vancouver is now sitting at over 15,000 active listings, which is 36% above the 10-year average. And in the Valley, active inventory has climbed to just over 9,200 units. That's 47% above the 10-year average.
And it can feel a bit intimidating for buyers to jump into the market right now when the market seems to be in a bit of a stalemate. But technically, this is an ideal time to purchase. And the amount of choice and leverage buyers have right now is incredibly rare. Yeah, go for it.
Prices have softened year over year, down 3.95% in Greater Vancouver and 2% in the Valley, which only adds to the opportunity. And you're right, there's basically too much choice on the market right now. Buyers are a bit overwhelmed, and so the reaction is to not make a decision. When the market is moving through the inventory a bit faster, people see what they're looking for and scoop it up rather than waiting to see what else comes along and risk losing a home that really works for them. Too much choice often makes it difficult to compare and choose confidently.
And if we look to the sales to listing ratio, the Fraser Valley has slipped to 10% and Greater Vancouver is at 12.6%. So even though the Greater Vancouver technically within balanced conditions, we have been saying that we're back to a buyer's market, back to inception. There is the technical buyer's market and the actual market.
Yeah. Even just looking at how long homes are sitting, the SM market has stretched compared to this time last year. On average, it's taking roughly 6 to 7 additional days to sell a home.
Yeah, and despite the last 2 rate cuts, we really haven't seen that translate into a noticeable uptick in demand. The broader economic uncertainty is still giving people reason to pause. Rate adjustment tomorrow we can expect lower. Nothing? Lower. I hope lower.
It'll be nothing.
We'll see. We shall see.
Job market concerns, businesses delaying investments, all of that makes it hard for buyers to confidently move forward with such a major purchase right now. But to an end on a positive, I am hearing from realtors who are doing deals that there are some great opportunities out there for those that can be decisive. Like there is some stuff moving. It's just, good locations, well priced.
Yep. Yeah. You see on the single family stats right now, even in such areas such as Langley and Cloverdale, like they're moving and it's only a couple days on the market. So to your point, product, pricing, all of those factors in line and things are selling. Well, on that note, this wraps up another month's pulse. Now it's time for me to wrap some presents, and I can't stop looking at your antlers here either.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We're wishing everyone a wonderful and safe holiday season, and we can't wait to see you all in the new year for a 2025 year in review episode and perhaps some predictions for 2026. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out our newswire, a daily email roundup of all the breaking news in the world of real estate. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next month.